Good evening everybody, welcome back to Jamie Talks Celtic. A couple of wee bits of Celtic news for you all today. Before we get into that, please remember subscribe to the channel, follow me, like, all that stuff. It's completely free, it doesn't cost you a penny, just hit the subscribe button. For some reason my subscribers have went up rapid over the last few days. Very, very grateful for all of you now on board, thanks very much for that. Hopefully we can have loads of Celtic patter, Celtic content on here, you know. I'm far from a professional. I'm not like a lot of these other guys who are very well spoken and, you know, journalistic and stuff, whereas I'm just a fan who wants to jump on here, talk away, have a conversation about Celtic, and you know, I'm not as good as these guys, I'm not as professional as these other fantastic content Celtic creators and stuff, but you know, I'll jump on here as much as I possibly can to discuss all these things. But yes, hit the subscribe button please guys, it really is appreciated. So we have another signing through the door, and it's the backroom staff. It is Ross Grant is now at Celtic. He is a set piece coach that we've took from Heart of Midlothian. He was there last season. Heart scored 23 goals from set pieces last year, so hopefully that's an omen going forward. Celtic have been vulnerable for a long time at set pieces, to be honest with you, so this is a good signing. Hopefully he can, you know, implement his style pretty much straight away, because I think we've been crying out for this position for quite a while, to be honest with you. I think that Celtic have needed someone in the door who not only knows how to attack set pieces, because I don't think we score enough from set pieces, to be honest, but also defend them as well, because I think we look pretty vulnerable. Like I say, for the last few years, I can think of, even in Europe it's pretty poor. Every single time the ball comes in the box, Celtic seem vulnerable. So hopefully Ross can come in and you know, like I say, implement his style pretty much straight away. That's what I'm really hoping for. I'm hoping for an immediate effect from the guy. You know, he's been at various clubs. He was Dundee United for years as well, and like I say, you know, Hearts almost won the league last season, and you know, a large part of that was through, you know, their set pieces, with the amount of goals that they scored. And I remember Halkett scoring goals, Finlay scored goals, you know, their delivery was fantastic for Harry Milne and stuff like that as well. So obviously Lauren Shanklin scored from a corner at Parkhead in the last day of the season, even though that didn't work out too well for them. But you know, like I say, they were a constant threat from set pieces. I remember Halkett scoring at Kilmarnock from a Harry Milne corner, and you know, like I say, various wins Dundee United against Dundee United they scored, and you know, quite a lot of times they were scoring from set pieces and stuff. So that is hopefully a big step for Celtic in the right direction. Obviously we've appointed Fotheringham, we've appointed Maloney and Martin O'Neill as the manager and stuff, so you know, things are coming together slowly but surely, and that's the problem. A lot of Celtic fans aren't happy with the slowly bit, you know, it is taking a bit of time to get all this stuff together. But you know, they're quietly working in the background, and now, you know, obviously we need to look on the first team side of things, the first team squad, you know, trying to get players in for the first team. But you know, that'll take a bit of time, no doubt, but hopefully there is other things working in the background and stuff, and you know, I'm just really hoping that these things can get sorted out soon. But yeah, you know, that's the backroom staff sorted. I don't know if there's going to be other people coming in, because Gavin Strachan wasn't a set piece coach. He was just a coach, you know. So you know, we've brought in a guy for a specific area and stuff like that, and you know, the things I've been seeing and reading about him and stuff like that, it seems as if he knows his stuff. It seems as if he's really quite experienced at this kind of stuff and that. So aye, let's hope for to see things happening quickly. You know, the first game of the season, or you know, we've got these European matches. We play Shelbourne next week. Go to Portugal as well, I'm sure, at some point, and then we've got Middlesbrough and, you know, a couple other friendlies between now and, you know, the start of the new season and that. But you know, that's the first team squad back, a lot of them anyway. You know, Callum McGregor's there, like I mentioned the other day. You know, you've got Arnie Engels, a lot of these guys are there. One guy who is missing is Rio Hatate at the moment. I know that there is still some players to come back. I know Sinisalo still to come back. Liam Scales, I don't think has been at training yet, but I believe that Rio Hatate may not come back. And if I'm being honest, and I've been on record for saying this for quite a while, I really hope that Rio Hatate is sorting out a move away from Celtic. And I don't want to sound harsh, but for me, his time at the club is over. Like I say, I've been on record for a long time saying that. And, I'm not going to back down on that now. I really want Rio Tie to move on. But aye, that's Ross Grant in the door. And aye, that's pretty much all I've got to say about that one. But let's hope that is a very, very good addition to the Celtic backroom staff. So Martin O'Neill was talking yesterday on Celtic TV. He had a couple of interesting things to say, in my opinion. One of the most interesting things he says is that he would like to implement a new style at Celtic, as well as keeping the modern way, and he believes that he can do both. He believes that he can go back to his particular style of football back in the early 2000s, and the modern way, like probably playing for the back and all that he's meaning, in the 4-3-3 formation that people play these days. I feel that Martin O'Neill will want to have a stronger team. I think he'll want to have more height added into the team. Especially bringing in a set-piece coach now. I think that is another sign of intent that, he wants to have that strong defensive mindset, as well as being more dynamic going forward. Because he mentioned that, back in the day, you were kind of, in not so many words he was saying, you were kind of wiping the floor with, the teams at Parkhead and stuff like that. And last season that just wasn't happening, as I mentioned the other day. There was just too many games where we were struggling to go over the line. Clearly we did enough in the end, because we won the double in that. But I agree with Martin O'Neill. I think that you can implement both. I think that football doesn't, football may change, but the basics stay the same, and I don't feel there's anything wrong with trying to get strong, powerful centre-backs. Look at Arsenal. Arsenal have got two strong, powerful centre-backs. Tall, strong, powerful centre-backs. And Gabriel and the French boy. What's his name? Can't remember. His name's escaped me. But what a player he is. But that's two strong centre-halves. And then they've got kind of pacey full-backs and stuff. And Saliba, that's his name, isn't it? But I really do believe that Martin O'Neill can implement his old style, as well as playing a new, dynamic, attacking, kind of exciting, quick football that we are longing for at Celtic. Because it just didn't happen last season, and I think that next season will be a different kind of style, hopefully. Another thing he mentioned is that he thinks that Rangers are going to be stronger and it's going to be a tough season, and he thinks that Hearts are not going to go away without fighting. So he clearly still thinks there's quite a lot of competition out there. So I don't know whether that's a little kind of nod to the board to say, listen, you need to back me here if you want Celtic to get back to where we were. And that's the thing he was saying. He was saying that Celtic are not as far away from these teams as they used to be, and that's not right. He says that we should be further ahead. That's what I was taking from that. We should be head and shoulders above Rangers, above Hearts and stuff, but the gap is very, very narrow at this point. And I'm just hoping Martin O'Neill knows that, and hoping that we can go into next season and we just dominate. That is what I'm really, really hoping. It's exciting seeing all these players back in pre-season, because I mentioned I'd done a bit on Narovski the other day and stuff, so who knows what could happen there. Martin O'Neill may be impressed with him at pre-season. And some other players that are there, I know Adam Montgomery is there. I'm not sure I've seen enough in that boy to actually kind of force down a place in Martin O'Neill's squad or whatever, but you never know what's going to happen going forward in that. But it's like a full new fresh start for us. Even though it's the same manager for last season, it's a lot of the same players. It does feel as if something's really freshening up now. We've got new people in the backroom staff, and a lot of Celtic fans are getting frustrated, and I'm one of them. I'm frustrated with the lack of activity in the transfer market so far. We're almost in July here. We haven't signed anybody yet, any first team players, right? I think we've signed a 16-year-old boy for Ireland, which, like I mentioned, he's going to be in the the academy or whatever. But we need to start signing players for the here and now, for next season. But it's exciting, everybody that they seem to be linked with just is moving on to somewhere else, and I don't know. It's just we need to start making a move now. That's Rangers signed another player today. A couple of players is coming through the door soon. They've signed Goffrey from Atalanta, who was an England international only a few years ago. Played loads and loads of matches in English Premier League for Everton. So, You know, this guy's no an idiot. You know what I mean? He'll be a decent player for them, I'd imagine. And you know, Hearts have already signed some players. They've signed McPake. They've signed a couple other players. You know what I mean? So you know, they've signed players that know the league as well. You know, and but we'll see what happens. You know, they've got a new manager in as well, them and all that. But when it comes back to us, we need to start, doing what we need to do. We need to start getting some players through the door just now. And people can say to me, "You need to be patient. You need to be patient." We need to get these players in early. Get them in as early as possible. And that's one thing I'll give them across the city is they always get their work done early. Doesn't always work out for them, obviously, because they hardly win anything these days. But I would like us to do that. Just get some players in early, bed them in, get them settled, for the rest of the season. That's what I want to see. I want to see it again. Also, I'm really hoping that Martin O'Neill is looking at guys like Balashawi and stuff and going, right, you know what, this is a new, fresh start for you. Because that guy couldn't have been garbage. He couldn't have been garbage before he came to Celtic. When he's come into Celtic, he's been rotten, you know what I mean? But there's got to be a player in there somewhere, surely. Surely there's got to be something there that why we signed that guy for the amount of money we did. It was only £5 million. I think it was maybe £5.5 million. So, there's a player there. There's got to be a player in there somewhere. Somebody must have seen something in Balashawi. So I'm hoping that Martin O'Neill isn't just dismissing him and is maybe going, you know what, work on this, work on that, and, we can start again with you next season. And, you need to prove yourself, though. But that's the thing, when it comes to a pre-season, end of season, last season, this new season is a fresh start for everybody. And I think Martin O'Neill is the kind of guy that will go like, you know what, forget everything that's happened in the past. This is your new chance to impress me. And if you impress me, you'll be in my team. And, but obviously we will be looking for players in various different positions and stuff. But Martin O'Neill did say if we get a couple of players in, we need more than a couple, Martin. We need somewhere between 7 and 10, in my opinion. In my opinion, that's what we need. But anyway, that's all I've got to say today. We've got some exciting fixtures coming up in pre-season and that, so we'll see how we get on. I would pay no attention to any of these things at pre-season, though, guys. See these results and stuff. If we get beat 3, 4, 5, have people, don't worry about it. It's all about fitness and trying to impress the manager and trying to get up to speed and stuff like that. Nobody wants to get injured in pre-season so that they're out for the first few weeks of the new season, or they're unfit for the Champions League qualifiers and that. People are just looking to get fit in pre-season. So yeah, I would take no notice of that. And the final thing I want to talk about before I go is Daizen Maeda is just about to start his game for Japan against Brazil tonight. So let's hope that we can, see Daizen put on a show. It's exciting stuff against Brazil. Would love to see him grab a goal. You never know, man. He's good enough. He's he's a very strong player. He knows how to hit the back of the net. He's not the most technically gifted player in the world, but if he gets an opportunity tonight, you never know. Personally, I think Brazil will probably win the match, but I'm really, really hoping that Daizen has a good game and can show again on the world stage that he scored, because he scored again the other night against Sweden. So, the guy knows how to score in World Cups. So we'll see what happens, but good luck to him tonight. We've got Benjamin Nygren over the next few days. For Sweden, they play France, I believe, which is going to be a very difficult game. Let's hope he starts that game and he can play. And you've got Austin Trusty, who's scored a good goal again the other day for USA and stuff. So, we've got players there that are, hopefully we can do a job and we can get all our players through to the next stage. Alistair Johnston as well, fantastic. Well done to AJ last night. In stoppage time, they grab a goal, they beat South Africa to get through to the last 16 of the World Cup, which is just fantastic for Canada and stuff like that. Jesse Marsh, really, really good manager, has been linked with Celtic in the past and that. But it's just great to see, Celtic representing our club on the world stage and stuff. So, well done to AJ, good luck to Daizen, good luck to Benjamin Nygren, and good luck to Austin Trusty. But anyway, guys, like I said at the start of the video, please remember subscribe to the channel. It really is appreciated. As we get as many Celtic fans on board as possible, I'll be a happy, happy man. And I'll do some giveaways and stuff like that as well once I get to a certain amount of subscribers. If I get to like 1,000 subscribers, I'll do some giveaways and we'll give out some Celtic stuff and that, you know. And I just hope to build the channel up as much as I possibly can. But yeah, that's enough of me rambling. Thanks very much for your patience and have a really, really good night, guys.